everyone, and what is up? Welcome to Extreme Bronco Live Wednesday night. What's up, Mr. Gavin?
What's up?
Mr. Gavin here is one tired dude, so he's going to be
Yes.
with us just for a few minutes tonight, and then he heads off to do whatever you do, go to sleep. Dirk Connor, what's going on? Good evening, sir. How are you? Nurse AJ checked in earlier in the comments. Thank you for that, Nurse AJ. She will watch on the replay tomorrow. So, Nurse AJ, thank you very much for that. Jonathan, what is going on? Hello, how are you? Hope all is well in your world. Checking my emails. I was expecting a Bronco Raptor build date, and I didn't get it today. Isn't that amazing? Now, that would be, I know typically it's like every Thursday, but I think now things are just so random. My dealer said, hey, I guess it got reviewed again. Second time, Gavin. Second time it's gotten reviewed. So, well, Pez Head 123. Hello, sir. How are you? Nick, what is going on? We haven't chatted here in a few weeks. I hope all is well with you. And thanks for sending over those pictures again on Instagram. We definitely appreciate it. Too bad YouTube doesn't have a way of doing that. You know that?
Yeah, like YouTube messages. That's a good idea. YouTube messages.
All right, YouTube, you hear it? He needs a 10% cut whenever you do it.
There's like YouTube Music, YouTube Shorts, like YouTube messages.
So, no news on our Bronco Raptor. So that's, we'll leave that, I guess, there. It's pretty cool to see some of these Raptors being, being delivered to dealers. People taking delivery. I haven't seen any out in the wild yet. Of course, I'm not on every Facebook group every day. I just kind of look at some of the main sources for the latest news. And speaking of the latest news, did you hear, and we might be able to pop this up, it's over on the Ford Authority, that Ford's patented a new device for air pressure management in the tires. Now, I know you might think TPMS is already a thing, but what this does, this is mainly for track and off-road, it seems. So when you go to the beach, which we're going to talk about that now, when you go to the beach and you air down, say to 20 PSI or whatever it is that you do. In our case here on the Outer Banks, we go 20. So it looks like this device, and this is just, trust me, this is in the rough, so we don't really know, but it looks like when you air down to 20, this device will have a range, maybe a couple pounds over lower. But what if you drop down to 10 PSI when you're off-roading? It's going to warn the driver and tell everyone that, hey, there's an issue. You had it set on 20, now you're at 10. Something's wrong. Before, you're sitting on the rim or roll a bead or something like that. So, you like that? Tim, my Def Leppard shirt on again. Gotta hide it again. Man, Def Leppard's a cool band. I'm trying to get Gavin to like this VIP thing so he could actually meet everyone. So,
not me to hit the table.
Yeah, I know.
Loud.
Hey, you want to tell them the update over there?
Oh yeah, so we're getting a new studio.
Well, they know that. I've been saying it for like a year now, but
True.
Did we get a start on it?
Yep, we've got a start. We've got our table, and we are working on the background.
Yeah, working on the background, but yeah, Gavin helped me put some of it together, and it's. I wish we could show it to you, but it's over there.
Howdy, Dirt, Connor.
Yep, Gavin says. So, well, thank you, Jonathan. Are you talking to TJ Miller? My Black Diamond has moved into production. Congratulations, that is awesome. Yep.
Hooray!
Yeah, love it.
Hooray,
I love it. I remember Gavin and I were thinking. I remember the day our Bronco, our 21 was built.
I remember when we got the build date.
Yeah, but I remember like just it was so cool, and the pictures came right after that. That was another thing. Getting the pictures on the Bronco is just such a classy thing. I just think it just adds to it. But I remember that day we're like, okay, I wonder what stage it's in. I wonder where it's at.
Yeah. And Tim with Overlaying for Fun, the drummer of Def Leppard, only has one arm. Yeah. Rick Allen, he's still an awesome drummer. And what's cool about that band is they didn't ditched their drummer when he got into a car accident and lost his arm.
Yeah, can you tell Gavin watched the Def Leppard the movie. It's weird. It's like a movie documentary, something like that. But yeah, it was pretty cool. The dude is super talented.
No, I don't just watch that. I watch all the music.
That's right. Yeah, so Tim, who knows? Maybe you'll win a shirt one day. I'll get you one of these shirts. I don't know. Let's see what else we got going on. Dr. Detroit is in the house. What's going on, Dr. D? What is happening? Let's see. The drummer Def Leppard only has one arm. That's what you just read. Sorry about that.
Hey guys.
Hey Michael Cooper, what's going on? I'm going
Bronco
in 60.
dude.
What is up? Oh, Bronco dude. I finally got my Everglades window sticker set for September 13th, which is weird though. My window sticker indicates an 8-inch screen. I really hope the dealer can straighten that out. Okay, well so the Everglades comes standard with a 12-inch screen, and it's a mid package with 12-inch screen. So I think you're safe there.
Hello, All-Terrain Nation. Hello.
All-Terrain Nation, what is going on? So let's see here. I still don't have a window sticker. I'm guessing tomorrow build date's supposed to be 9/15. So yeah, one of the biggest things is, like I said, on the Everglades, it is what it is. It's a 12-inch screen, mid package. And so I think you're definitely going to be safe there. I wouldn't worry about that. However, it's kind of weird that it's printed that way, I guess. Andrea, what is going on? Thank you so much. You headed to Duck this weekend. Well, check that out. Today, the tides on the Outer Banks, which we're going to start talking about that, and then Gavin's going to split. The tides on the Outer Banks are really, really high today. Corova 4x4 is a Facebook page. I was going to link to them, but I wanted their okay before I did it. There's a lot of video on there. But it is high today. And people are driving through the seawater. God, never. I mean, like if I'm in the seawater because we took a wrong turn, right?
Yeah. And there was a great white shark that washed up on the beach in Kitty Hawk.
Yep, there was what was that, 3 days ago? Something like that. So we were just there over the weekends. Pretty fun. See, you were swimming in that water, dude.
There's a lyric from a song by Bloodhound.
Hey, Bronco 78. Good evening, sir. How are you? But Andrea, thank you so much for that super chat. We greatly appreciate it. I am really trying to get up. I don't know if it's going to work out time-wise, but I'm really trying to get up to Detroit for the unveiling of the Mustang. And hang on. Don't move the mouse there, dude. Headed up for September 14th for the Mustang reveal. And I don't know if I'm going to do it, but if I go, you're going to be assured that $20 helped get me there. So thank you so much for that.
And
Gavin, the drummer of Def Leppard, only has one. My song, Bloodhound Gang. Okay, that's a rhyme there. Oh, let's see. Bronco do poor Dirk. Dr. D, sipping one and listening to you. I hear you. I started doing my wife and I, Becky, we started doing wine lately. I'm kind of laying off the adult beverages too much, but wine. Yeah. I don't stay there. But anyway, so I'm really looking forward to some really good content that's getting ready to come around the corner. Like I said, the Bronco Raptor build date just can't happen quick enough. So we'll see. But let's talk about this weekend, Gavin, so you can roll. Okay. So we found out something. We're definitely going to do a video on this. I will tell you if I set this up for you. If you go to Oregon Inlet on the Outer Banks, so that's down. Oregon Inlet is where if you ever watched the show, what's it called? Wicked Tuna Outer Banks. That's where where they were hitting the old bridge, the Bonner Bridge. They were always running into it or running aground. It's really rough right there. Well, that's the inlet, right? So we're on the beach right there. You see the boats going in and out. So to give you, if you're not familiar with the Outer Banks, an idea. So there's beach access 2 and 4. So we went into beach access 4. If you know where this is, you'll know. They they leveled it off. They smoothed it out a little bit, so it wasn't bad going onto the beach. Now, when you get onto the beach, the wheeling is generally easy. Closer you are to the water, the better.
But Corolla is like as soon as you go in, it's deep.
Well, that's what I was going to say here, Gavin. So at the entrance, what happens is generally, unless there's been a major storm, it doesn't get wet from the tide. And if it hasn't rained, then that sand's being churned up, right, by people churning over, spinning and whatever. So it gets real loose. So if it's dry and real loose, and I don't care what anybody says, oh, it's easy wheeling. It's not difficult, but here's what'll happen. Perfect example this weekend. So we went in on beach access 4. We went to the beach. We had a great time. Everybody had a great time. When we left, we went to beach access 2. So it was a little bit of a drive down the beach. And that's where you go up a dune and you have to turn to the left. And it's kind of a crazy deal because, people will come up that from the beach, like with a lot of throttle, and someone's coming in and it's around a corner. So there's always a near miss, right?
What happens in Detroit stays in Detroit.
Yeah, actually, Tim, one of the reasons why I got to lay off is because of Detroit. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, so we were leaving, and there was somebody really churning it up in a pickup truck. They got stuck in front of us. They got themselves out. So I drove up, not an issue. I'm in sand mode. Becky started to drive up, and she was going really slow because there was somebody coming around the corner. So she lost her momentum and slowed up quite a bit. Now, keep in mind, we're in sand mode. We're in sand mode, which is it's rear lockers and 4 high, just to give you an idea. And so it's good for cruising down the beach. It carries the gears up a little, higher. So if you're going, like, most of the Outer Banks is 30 miles per hour. It's not like you can go ripping it. And it carries the RPMs up pretty high. I want to say like 2,600 before it shifts. So it's really sand mode's good to drive on the beach, right? But when you're leaving and you're in that loose sand and it's deep and it's dry and there's people coming in and it's really hectic there. Some people think that the guy in the Jeep that was just like so annoyed that somebody got stuck in front of him. He was just so beside himself. Yeah. It's just like, can't believe that somebody got stuck. And then he got stuck because he's with a trailer. He was in a Gladiator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a clay colored Gladiator with a real nice trailer. Overlanding, kind of straight up cool. It's a nice rig. The whole thing looked good. But like, dude was impatient, took off, and ended up getting stuck. So it happens to everyone. So Becky was leaving and she started to push the front of the Bronco down in the sand. And so if you're going to the beach and you're in real loose stuff and you find yourself getting to the point to where you're starting to spin, the mode that we found that works is mud and rut, or you can just go to 4 low and lock in the front locker. Mm-hmm. If you go to 4 low, lock in the front locker, you got to shift to neutral and do that. But when you do that, it literally lifts itself out of the sand, right? So you think, well, I'm in the sand, I'm in sand mode. Sand mode is not made for real deep, loose sand that just like quicksand, right?
It's made like for desert, like that kind of sand.
This is sand so loose because I walked over to where she was and she wasn't stuck. She was still moving, but I told her to stop because I didn't want her to, kind of go any further down. But when you walked in it with your feet, you're down over past your ankles and it's hard to walk, right? You're losing your shoes in the sand. It's just nutty. So, generally wheeling on the Outer Banks is so easy, but where you typically have your problems, your entry points, entry and exit. So we thought that was interesting. So we're going to do a video on it and say, if you're in the sand, right, you need to be in sand mode. However, if you find yourself getting stuck, don't push it. Just go to 4 low, lock in the front lockers and let it eat. Anyway, let's see what we got. What do we have going on in the comments here? Let's see. Oh, wow. Dr. Detroit. Yeah. One of the questions I had was access. If I do all that and go up there, how much access would I have to that area? So maybe let's connect on Instagram. If I can make it up there, I would definitely connect with you because it'd be cool. We're starting to do some stuff. I saw if you ever go over to Mustang 7G, and sorry everyone, I was commenting. Dr. Detroit, said, hey, get with him if I ever get up there or if I make it up there. Mustang 7G has a picture of a Mustang covered. I honestly believe, and this is an outside chance that car no longer is a 4-seater,
Mhm.
that it's quite possibly a 2-seater. I could be wrong on that. Either that or they're messing with us on this cover, because when you see the fastback, the slope go down off the back window, it ends at the spoiler.
Yeah.
Now, I don't see how that's possible where the rear seats are almost there just to call it a 4-seater. They're not really that big. I would be really happy, Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Gavin.
Productions.
I would be really happy if there was no back seat in that car.
Mm-hmm.
But the hood scoop, you can definitely tell there's a hood scoop. It's got some real hard lines on the front fenders. And I listened to the audio. It's definitely a flat plane Coyote still. I thought maybe they might do something weird with a cross plane like they did in the Predator. But no, that's it. And, Ford Performance has done some really good stuff. Like if you look at the Bronco Raptor, what did we talk about on the induction losses?
Mm-hmm.
They've been able to shrink the induction losses down.
Yeah.
Now, this is not, you don't think the GT or the Mach 1 is going to be supercharged. It's definitely not turbocharged, but we have no idea. But if you look at that, they've done they've really made headway on increasing the airflow into the engine and out of the engine. So I would assume that they're going to take some of those traits and move it over to Mustang. So it's going to be pretty cool. Airplane Mike, what is happening? How are you? Haven't chatted with you for a while. I hope you're enjoying your Bronco. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Bronco dude in the right direction. Let's see. Dirk's talking to them. All Terrain Nation said he needs to finish finish his Detroit, not doctor, finish Detroit video. What are you pointing at, sir? Time. You ready to go? Yeah. Are you tired?
Yes.
All right. Why don't you say goodbye to everybody and you can.
Bye-bye.
Gavin's tired. He, back in school, he's not used to these hours and then soccer and yeah.
Heat.
You're worn out, aren't you, sir? All right, Gavin. See you. Thank you.
See you, everybody.
Gavin's out. We'll get him on a video where he can get some sleep. Let's see what's going on. Airplane Mike said my Everglades is set to be built on Friday. Awesome news. Awesome news. Airplane Mike said good night, Gavin. So have a good night. All right. So, on the Bronco Raptor, I was going to try to bring something up here, but I can't right now. It looks like I said, there's a lot of inventions coming out. When I say inventions, a lot of, I guess, trademarks and for certain devices. Ford's really going out on the off-roading. If you look at all the new products and all the the ones geared for off-roading, right? The Ranger Raptor, the new Ranger period, the Bronco Raptor, the Tremor. What am I forget? I mean, overseas, the Everest, but here, even, people are doing some fun stuff with the Maverick. So there's a lot of that emphasis. And I was looking at all of the attention that's being put to off-roading. And I think that as you start to stack up these things like air pressure management in tires above and beyond the TPMS, this is letting you know when you air down, you're keeping it within that range. If you drop below it or go over it, it warns you about that. That's going to be some cool stuff coming out. And I would have to say that is for Mustang at the track and the Bronco off-road. So that's definitely pretty cool. And I'm assuming it'll be in other vehicles as well. Let's see. Max Martinez, any leaks on the new stuff for 2023 Bronco models other than what's known, the Heritage and Heritage Limited? Max, there's some new colors out there. I think the big thing that still bugs some of us is that oats, right? Ford had to register with the transportation department, I guess the NHTB or whatever their acronym, their name, their initials are, but they had to register the VINs or at least the pretext for the VINs, and oats is in there. Well, we don't know what the oats is. I mean, some of us think, I think it's a hybrid, but it's a two-door, so who knows? But as far as any extras, I don't really know of anything. I mean, it's been pretty tight-lipped at this point. So one of the things I think is expectations. If there's too many leaks and then they have to pull back on something at the last minute, then that's one of those things where then people get disappointed. So I think that until it's a done deal, until just keep it quiet and then launch the stuff. So anyone else that has any clues on that, definitely let me know. But we'll see. Airplane Mike said one thing. I'm wondering if the here, let's go ahead and pop this up here so everyone can see it. One thing I'm wondering is if the Everglades can get the 12-inch screen. I'm wondering if you could fit that in the black diamond as a plug and play. So I don't know. There's that. It looks like a piece of trim in the dash. I don't know if that's removable or if that's part of that dash. Are there two dashes? Or is it simply an insert? I really haven't stared at ours. Well, we have the 12-inch, but I haven't stared at an 8-inch screen to look at that trim around it. I don't know if it would be plug and play. It sounds easy enough, right? But that is a very good question, Airplane Mike. Maybe we dig into that because, I don't know. I really don't know. See, TJ Miller said, I see a lot of people complaining that the interior plastic scratch really easy. How true is this, Warner? Okay, so I'll tell you in the rear of the Broncos. Now, TJ was asking about the plastic scratching. I haven't had an issue in the front on the dash or anything like that. We haven't. But I will tell you when you get in, if your foot hits the door panel, you might transfer whatever the sole of your shoe is on there, like a soft sole shoe. It might rub something on there and it rubs right off. But in the back, we had a cooler, we had beach chairs and things like that, and headed down the road, rubbing on it. It will rub on that plastic, and if you wipe it down with a damp cloth, clean it up, you might be able to put some kind of plastic restorer on there and get the scrapes out. But there are a few in the back of our 22. But it's like every other vehicle I've ever owned. So I don't know. Could something be put in that area? Sure. A different type material, but I mean, I'm very conscious about when we put stuff back there to try to keep it off of the sides anyway, but it's inevitable. You turn a corner, it leans, whatever. But so there is some truth to that, but I wouldn't like haul bricks around in it. And some of the Broncos get really used, and maybe those get more scratches, than the rest of them. Yep. Jonathan said seatbelt scratch in the side where they hang. So I have seen that the hard plastic on there, especially in the back, if you're riding with the top down and they're moving around a little bit. So we don't have any scratches, but the first day we drove it and it started banging around a little bit. You can get the sleeves for them, but we actually put connected the seatbelts in the back, even though no one was in the back, just to keep them from flopping on the sides. Now they'll still flop. The seatbelt will still flop in the center, but it's just not banging against the side. Honestly, though, it's not a real big deal for us at all. All right, let's see here. Two-door V8. Bronco 78 said that. Yeah, so anything is possible. There was a Canadian supplier that builds, for the Windsor engine plant, and they were talking about a new 6-liter. It's like 6.3 or 6.8, potentially coming out, in something this year. So it's been no news on that. So who knows what that was? But I think that if anything, it would possibly, who knows? I mean, maybe this is the Bronco could get the Godzilla engine. So if you think about it, the Godzilla is smaller than a Coyote, right? So if width is an issue, there you go. Now it's a pushrod engine, but who cares? I mean, push rod engines have been great. and it's cross plane, it's traditional crankshaft, kind of a traditional engine if you think about it to a point. A lot of new technology, but wouldn't it be cool if the 7.3 was a V8 option for the Bronco? I mean, I think everybody's talking Coyote, but that's a wide engine. So very broad, big cylinder heads, double overhead cam. So it's a big engine. How about the 7.3? I'll go for that. We're all guessing at this stuff anyway. So that's a pretty good guess. Let's see. Bronco 78 said, I need the Godzilla in my 78. Yes, you do, sir. They are making some really good horsepower, that engine, without any kind of induction. So 600 horsepower with the right tune. I know Wheeling, we're more concerned about torque, but just for the record, about that 600 number. Also, it is an engine that'll fit in a Fox body Mustang and also a 67, 68, 69, and 70 Mustang. I don't know if it'll fit in a 64 and a half through 66, the shock towers. I don't know about that. But they say it's about the same size as a Windsor. And if that's the case, it will fit in a 64 and a half or 66, but it will require some shock tower adjustments. And quite frankly, if you're doing all that to a car, you might want to just go with coilovers anyway and kind of modify the front of that. So I think we all need a 7.3 floating around. Let's see. Oh, let's get this comment here. What is this about? I've had my soft top fray a bit because of some screw bolts that stick out. Nothing major that would have kept from getting worse if I noticed it. Your heads up to everyone. Bronco dude, thanks for saying that. Yeah, I mean, you've got to keep an eye on everything. I guess anymore, and I think that as time goes on, definitely all the little things that are then known that, we use and abuse these Broncos more than test mules do. So I think what happens is that we get in a situation where all the small things are going to be fixed in revisions and updates and things like that. But yeah, definitely. Even if you fix something yourself, let your dealer know if they want to take a picture of it. Because they're supposed to be doing the technician is in some cases taking pictures and reporting that back for the QC department so they can try to, get a handle on everything, which I think is a really cool idea, by the way. See, Jessica Dunn said, my two-door, pull this up here, my two-door scratched on the driver's side 2 weeks in. So yeah, it's pretty soft or plastic. Yeah. And like I said, really that lower area where that net is, the cargo, water bottle holder or whatever, that net there, I've hit it in mine getting in a few times, but that was able to wipe off. The back was another story. So, and there's probably aftermarket coming for that. There's something that'll be, made for that. So yeah, see, that's what I saw people in Bronco 6G saying it was like scratching wax. Yeah, things get blown out of proportion over there quite a bit. I mean, and not just there. Bronco 6G is a great platform. Don't get me wrong. I just mean some of the comments that go over there. It's not their fault that some of the people comment on some of the stuff that they comment on. Let's see, especially if you paid 20 over and you've had to wait forever, you're already mad. And then the one little thing goes wrong. It's just opening up that, the floodgate. Airplane mic. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. I need to start reading the comments from the top because I get in these conversations like 3 or 4 comments in and then I don't know what I'm saying. So let's see. See, a lot of you covered that. Airplane mic said if you bought, okay, if you bought the upgraded dash and replaced it. Yeah. I don't have an issue in ours. I'm not throwing keys on the dash. I don't store anything on the dash at all. I really take care of it. I know I get joked on my 21 for babying it, but now the 22 gets just worked and driven every day. So the 22 is really the one we're getting ready to do our 10,000 mile review on, which we're over. So it's going to be like 12. But we had planned one for 10. But that's the one that really, really gets used the most, and that is perfect for reviewing it. So I think you'll like that review when we go on there. The real life, taking the kids to sports, trips, grocery shopping. all that stuff. The beach, you're wheeling on Sunday and you're taking kids to school and grocery shopping on Monday. And then you're running around to clients, Tuesday and Wednesday. And then you're going to the barn on Thursday with, all the saddles and everything else. And then, Friday you're cleaning it up and going out, with some friends to dinner or whatever. They want to ride with the top down or the top off. And then the next weekend, you're right back at it, sports and then the beach again. So, I mean, that's the life of the Bronco, at least the 22 Bronco. So that's a really good testament for it gets dirty, it gets cleaned up, and it's right back at it. All right, let's see what we got going on here. TJ Miller said, my wife's Bronco Sport hasn't had an issue with scratching. Must be, yeah. So who knows? I can tell you the 21 Bronco. I think I mentioned it to someone. I had some headlights coming on, once in a while, but I say once in a while, it happened twice. I think I was getting some kind of over the air update because the second time it happened, we were able to, there was something that came across the infotainment screen to keep, I don't know. I have to go back. If it ever does it again, I was going to try to film it. But I may have been getting some kind of over air update. I haven't had an issue since. The 21 Bronco, there's like a squeaking in a seatbelt that I think, who knows, may or may not have been our fault. But other than that, no issues there. We did have the diff, leaking on the 22. But the top with a little bit of noise with the clicking and stuff like that. But I mean, all those are, to me, the dealer took care of the pinion, stuff like that, the seal. I think I'm pretty happy with a brand new model, a 21 and, really 22, nothing changed. Overall, I'm happy. We haven't had any other issues, knock on wood. And, now if something major happens or you keep having the small things, it'll add up, right? And it'll get aggravating. But right now I'm super pleased with it. So I know we just love the Bronco, right? We love driving them. We love going to the beach. And this weekend we learned something about sand mode that we didn't know. And so I think, definitely a video coming on that. So, but the Bronco Raptor is definitely going to be a change for us if we can ever get it. Now it may be a 23. I am getting word of that. If it didn't get picked up the last time they reviewed it, and maybe I have that terminology wrong, but basically the dealer could see it got looked at, however that works. And if you work at a dealership, you would know. But if it didn't get scheduled this time or in the next week, it's likely going to be a 23. I don't know how true that is, but if it is, that's fine. We can go from there. I don't mind. Let's see what else. But yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, let's I think we're going to end this broadcast a little early tonight. What do you guys think? You want to keep going? I need some questions, man. Let's keep this going. I don't have a guest. Becky's not available. Gavin's tired. And I don't have a bunch of extra comments or content, I should say. I'm waiting on the comments, but I don't have a bunch of extra content. But somebody asked a question earlier. What about the trim in the Broncos? What's new for 23? We know of some colors going away, colors being added. We know that the Heritage and Heritage Limited are a thing, right? The more of the Heritage, just under 4,000 of the Limiteds between 2 doors and 4 doors. But as far as anything else, you may be getting a new 2.7 or an updated 2.7, maybe in 24, 25, I think 24. But 23, I don't know. I don't know of anything that is really big out there. I've lost some traction on that, and I definitely need to follow it. But I mentioned something in a Mustang video. I said the silly season is when over there, the Mustang guys, and here on this channel that we're starting to talk about it heavily, they haven't been through what we've been through with the last couple of years with the Bronco. The reveal, I believe, on the Mustang, and I think Ford's probably learned something on the Bronco, it's going to be sort of a soft reveal. You're going to see the car, you're going to know the trims, but I don't know if you're going to know all of the details. And I think what would happen is silly season is going to be between the reveal and the order guide opening to the public. And things are going to be talked about, added, taken away, stuff like that. Remember how I was done with the Bronco, right? We were expecting, painted hardtops, and then that got pushed back for, a couple weeks. So, or a couple years. I wish it was a couple weeks, right? It got pushed back for, I think I don't really know, as things on a launch or reveal, it's like, here's our best intentions, this is what we want, and then certain commodity issues pop up, other things pop up, like the bring your own device bar was there in the beginning, then it's not, things change. So silly season, as I call it, is in between the launch and the order guide, because when the order guide opens, that's when you know what you can order. Now, you could still have some issues there once you order something and suddenly it's not available, but it's unlikely. The change is going to be between, say, September 14th on the Mustang and the order guide. Well, on the Bronco, it's out. People have them. We have, a lot of us have our Broncos now. The things that are coming up for 23, which I guess in the coming weeks we'll know more about it, is there may be something out there we're not expecting. We're honed in on colors, the heritage, what's the oats, but they're made sort of out of left field be this add, right? They're going to add this to the interior. They're going to add this performance package or whatever. So I don't really know. I think you might be able to get something tuning wise. But we'll see. Let's see some of the, okay. Bronco Dude is talking about his top. It's on the passenger, the soft top issue that he had. Let's go ahead and pull this up so everybody can read it. It's on the passenger side above the rear passenger side door. Bolt sticks out both sides, but the way the passenger side soft top was folding while back mode is folding into the screw. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Well, take it to the dealer. They can hook you up. Yeah, TJ said All Train Nation predicted rear cup holders, I think. Yeah, and I guess that's a possibility. I don't know what the deal is with the marine grade and the cup holders, unless it's somewhere else to hold moisture. I mean, I'm just guessing. What's the difference between that and leather? So you would think it's just more areas to hold. I don't know. Jason K. I wonder if Ford will bring out a Bronco trimmer. Possible, but I think the trimmer probably is set for the pickup truck line, and the Bronco Raptor is going to be that performance off-road Bronco. Well, I mean, they're all off-road, but the upper echelon of the off-road is the Bronco Raptor. Now, the oats there again, I think it's hybrid or something to do in that area. So that's definitely, it's an off-road vehicle, right? But it's mainly for on-road. I think the trimmer possibly is just held for pickup trucks. Ranger, Maverick, F-150, F-250. We'll see. That's a good question, though. Thanks, Jason, for asking. See, Joel said, I ordered a Wild Track with the Haas 3.0. I'm scheduled to get around late October. I believe it has an upgraded steering rack, right? Yes. It's supposed to have an upgraded steering rack. I know in the Bronco Raptor it does. I think it was added in the 3.0 to the bigger tie rods, inner tie rods, and the bigger rack. It really, a lot more active suspension, I guess. So the Badlands or anything Sasquatch has the 2.0, Bronco Raptor has a 4.0, and the Wild Track has that hybrid 3.0. So it's supposed to be really good. I haven't seen anything other than the original ordering guide on that, so I don't know. But it is supposed to have a different rack. At least that's what I understand early on. Oh, let's see. GM just halted production in the new Z06. It's not only Ford having issues. No, I think Ford had some early on issues that they're working through that other manufacturers had early on and maybe didn't have plan to get all the way through it because there's several manufacturers that had to shut down recently, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of people out there just waiting and waiting. And used car prices continue to go up and down. It depends on what year it is and what type of vehicle it is, but some are still appreciating, others are depreciating. Who knows? All right, John Hines, let's read this comment. Something to think about. I've heard no mention that the 3.0 Raptor engine transmission swap into a normal Bronco in the future. I haven't heard anything about that or like that. I think the one thing that I would say there is probably you don't want to chip away at what the Bronco Raptor has to offer. So if you take the engine, because the same transmission, if you take the engine, then you're left with the suspension and fenders, hood, fender flares. That becomes the difference. Right now, you're paying the extra, 20,000 or so, depends on how you build it. But you're getting the engine, you're getting the suspension, you're getting the different body on it, you're getting the headlights, right? The amber ring and bar. There's some other stuff. You can tow 1,000 pounds more. You have 37-inch tires from the factory. Even though I would call the tires part of the suspension, I'm just saying that with the code orange seatbelts, which by the way, someone asked me the other day, that I think that the new Mustang, do I think that the 2024 Mustang will have different color seatbelts? I think different color seatbelts are going to be one of the cool ways to customize your vehicle from the manufacturer. And I think Ford would probably be there first. Maybe it's body matching seatbelts or a few different colors like code orange, or, who knows what colors are out there. But bringing that up from the Bronco Raptor, it's one of those situations where they're offering the code orange, but you can't get that in a regular Bronco. So I really don't know. I don't know, John. That's a good comment, or a good question, I should say. I don't know. I would think that you'd want to protect that trim, right? Just like you can't get a 5.2 Predator in a Mach 1. Mach 1 gets the Coyote with different tuning, intake, any list of things that they have on there. But it's the 5.2 Predator is for the Shelby GT500. Like, it wasn't even for the 350. So I don't really know. Good question, though. Thanks for asking. Let's see. Yeah, Joel is supposed to have an upgraded rack and tie rods. Yep. Oh, what is this here? Yeah, the speaking of the trimmer, I think that wouldn't you call that that's the Bronco Raptor, right? So, all righty, Bronco Dude marine grade vinyl has cup holders now. The Everglades is built with them. Let's put this comment up there. I'm trying to remember. We took pictures of the Everglades that was in Townsend, and I'll have to go back and look at that. It's nothing that jumped out at us, but it is marine grade vinyl in the Everglades. So that's that's cool. If they're adding them, that is great, because the Bronco does need more than 2 cup holders. I know you like one way not to have people drinking in there, but let's see. Rear AC would be a good update. Yeah. Part of that issue is ducting. We did a video. It's here on our channel. If you adjust the dash vents in a certain way, we actually had it cooler in our 22 hardtop 4-door in the rear than in the front, because the side vents blew between the seats and the windows toward the back, and the 2 vents in the middle were kind of turned, so they blew between the seats. We didn't have an issue cooling, the Bronco. And another thing is you need to be on the dash vent setting, not on floor. Floor is really for heat. I mean, you do what you want to, but I'm just saying that if it 100% blown out of the vent, it's better than it being in a blend or a mix. And it's what we found is that, and we did some temperatures. We actually measured temperature in there. It was a hot, sunny day. You know, what's hot? I mean, this day was like 90 or so. It's in the video. But if you check it out, you'll see a good way to adjust the vents and simply cool the back seats off. And yeah, so let's see. Doesn't the rear AC come out underneath the seat? So TJ, no, that was just mentioning that. So you do have the ducting underneath the seats, and really it comes out of there for floor. Now you can set the climate so that you use AC out of the floor, so it's blowing on your feet in the front and through the ducts in the back. You can do a mix where it's part out of the dash, part on the floor. But I highly recommend, and you probably could do defrost, I guess. But then, you're going to get frost all over the windshield or a little fog on there. But the video that we did use 100% dash vents, and we had no issue cooling the back. Would a soft top be a little more, would it be a different? Sure, it'd be different. But, in our case, we did it to a hard top, and that was not a problem. Let's see. Bronco 78, did they say that the final scheduling for 22s is September 8th? I believe they did. Yeah, good question on that. I do think they did. Yeah, mobile, good question. There was a video, and somebody asked me this last week, and I definitely need to find it. I want to say it was a TFL, possibly, or it could be somebody else, but they were talking to a Ford engineer about the Bronco Raptor. That same video, he was talking about they needed the four-door, they needed a longer wheelbase for their performance, the suspension, for everything to work the way they designed it. In that same video, they talked about, and I don't think they said it clearly, but it sure sounded like they were insinuating the line at map wouldn't be able to put a 3.5 or a V8 in the Bronco there at map. It sounds like something to do with the line. Now, that's just what I interpreted. I could be totally wrong. Don't take that to the bank. But it's just what I gathered. So I need to link that video, and maybe I'll go on a mission this week to find it, and I'll link it in the comments. So after next week's live, that we can check it out, and whoever's video it was, we'll just put a link in there and you can check it out. But I think that was the deal. Now there's some guys that don't like the 3.5s. They don't like the water pump. I don't think it was the oil pump, but I think it was a water pump and something else. They were saying they would much rather have like the 3.0, which is based on the 2.7. So I haven't cracked in one of these engine jets. I really don't know. I know of the engine. I know about the engine. I know the details on it. And I've had them, been around them, but I've never rebuilt one. So I can't tell you firsthand knowledge. So, let's see. But it's a good question, Mobile. I mean, and I could be wrong. I think I was trying not to read into what the guy was saying, but that's what it sounded like. There was limitations to, and now the limitations could have been financial, but I almost think and almost sure they were mechanical, robotics related type thing. 502 Bourbon Crew, what is going on? Thanks for checking in tonight. Let's see. Is that considered rear AC? Have a step space they could put in the vent. So Max Martinez was asking, is that considered rear AC? Talking about the floor vents, I'm assuming. Is there a place not to put AC vents? So I don't know what room is, between, say if you have marine gray vinyl and you have washout floors, the distance between the floor and, the bottom pan, I guess you want to say, the chassis or the body, what's that distance in there? I honestly just don't think, I know, you can't go overhead. That's kind of obvious. You can't go down the sides. That's obvious as well. So it would have to be in that space. And I just don't think they have that space there. It's a good question though. Oh, John, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. totally read your question wrong. That's my fault. So John was saying earlier about the 3.0 swap in a regular Bronco. He was saying, do you think an owner will do the swap? So would an owner take a 3.0 and swap it out for their, 2.7, or probably more likely to 2.3? Now, the 2.3 would be, obviously a bigger change. I think that because a 3.0 is a modified 2.7, I think you would do, as much work you could to the 2.7 and probably end up close to the same performance, if not a little bit more. Because aftermarket has a little bit more freedom than manufacturers do in some cases. I don't know. I mean, it's a good question, but I would say that someone could definitely pump up a 2.7. And I mean, it's all about, turbos and induction, the ducting, the intercooler. Those are the charge cooler, I guess you want to say, or it's intercooler. Most of us say, they're getting more air through the ducting. And so the 2.7 has the Y fitting on the driver's side, and it goes into the charge cooler with one single pipe. The Bronco Raptor goes in 2 pipes. So one charge pipe off of each turbo into the charge cooler. Now, does it mix into a common space, or there's 2 different circuits? It exits in a common space. And I would think that there would be at some point 2 circuits initially until, the temperature drops, moisture drops, or temperature drops, moisture may go up. Depends, I guess, on the environment you're in. But then it leaves through one pipe into the intake. I think someone's going to come out with that conversion kit to really get more air going through. And then, of course, that's going to change, settings and things like that. Now, all of that you have to be able to do with all the emission stuff anyway. So not everything is possible, because unless it's off-road only. But anyway, 3.7 EBs are much more plentiful and make more power. Mobile motto, I agree with that. The 3.5, people have been working on those and doing some cool stuff. I mean, the Ford GT has a 3.5 in it, for Pete's sakes, and that thing makes a lot of horsepower, right? Now it has a lot of bolt-on stuff, a lot of different stuff with it, but the 3.5 EcoBoost is proven, and I agree with you, much more plentiful. That would be a good question to actually get somebody to answer, right? Versus kind of beating around it. I mean, you just want to know, but yeah. And TJ Miller said, I'm surprised they didn't put the 3.5 in the Bronco, really. So, when you listen to it, they're doing some weird stuff with the 2.7. So I think the bore is the same. The stroke is longer. But they got rid of the hot gas recirculation system. It's supposed to be direct injection only. That's what it's listed as, the technical data. So versus port and direct into the cylinder. So that's a high pressure and a low pressure system. It's basically one injector down into the head, no catch can, and no hot gas recirculation. So somewhere the hot gas recirculation came into play. With obviously it has to pass emissions, but I mean, I think probably that had something to do with the lack of dual injection. I don't know why it went away other than it's not there. But yeah, I think that they're just, I said early on in a video that if I was doing it, if I didn't have the V8, I would modify a 2.7. I like the CGI block. I think it has a lot of advantages to it. One is strength. If you're going to jump this Bronco Raptor, right, and you're going to have some high torque situations where you're jumping, you're on the gas, you're building boost, you have sport mode, which keeps the turbos charged, and it keeps, you lose a lot of the lag because you keep the charge going in the engine. So whenever you get back on the throttle, you've got the air there. the sport mode in it, I think, gives the Bronco Raptor something to consider, and that is there's a lot of torque. There's a lot of torsion on that block, right? I mean, that's one reason why they have the Bebo and the Cibo, the cross braces. So the Bebo is aluminum and plastic. The Cibo is a modified carbon fiber material. They added that to keep the body straight, but what about the driveline, right? So how much of that were they worried about putting a tremendous amount of stress on that block? I don't know if that's why they went CGI, and then of course they just added more stroke to it, and they probably different heads, I would imagine. I know the valves are the same size, so if you look at the 2.7 specs and a 3.0 specs, the valves are the same size, but they're doing a lot more with airflow, so stuffing it in there. I don't really know. I'm gone to 60. Good night. Good night. Mobile Mod said, or just LS swap. Oh no, don't do that. No, I'm serious about the Godzilla engine is going to be the go-to because of its, well, a lot more people know how to work on pushrod engines, but even in this case, because of the width of the engine, it'll fit in a lot tighter spot than the Coyote will, even though the Coyote is a great engine. Let's see. Mobile Moto trimmer is the Raptor suspension without the 3.5. Let's see. You can get an F250 with a 7.3 Godzilla trimmer. Yes, you can. And supposedly that's why they came up with that engine. And of course, somebody at Ford Performance said, hey, it just so happens we've got this engine that's really, really good. And you're starting to see it in other places. There's the older Mustang running around that has this really strange looking hood. That's when they were testing it. The way the intake, the horn on the intake curved up like it did in the truck. So they just modified the hood, and they've since redesigned an intake with a low profile horn where the air goes in. And so it's a lower profile. So it probably still require a different hood, right, with a somewhat of a raised portion or a scoop in a Mustang. I say Mustang, I'm talking 2010 to present. But I think that is going to be a good swap for a lot of people. So we'll definitely see. Mobile said I had my AC stop working. It was like everything reset the factory, like over-air update. Over-air updates are a real thing, Mobile. I've experienced on my headlight thing. Supposedly that's what we're figuring it was. Andrea had, and Andrea, if you're still here, you want to chime. I thought you had like a little AC thing that happened one time. I don't know whatever happened with that, or I think it was you that told me that. If it wasn't, I'm sorry. Let's see. Mobile said had turned the AC back on manually, and the temperature knobs weren't making the air blow. Yeah, that's who knows. I mean, there's most of the stuff. My dealer did tell me, they said, hey, expect some software stuff that can easily be fixed. What's really cool is when your dealer has your VIN number, they're able to look up. As I was driving, I had a question one day, and it was able to look, at our Bronco to see if there was any kind of fault codes, anything that had been reported. Now, I know you can do it on your Ford Pass app, but I was driving, right? I was talking to him, and he said, well, let me just pull it up and let me see what the numbers are. And I thought that was just so cool if you think about that. And they were telling me that, there's some software stuff out there they can easily fix, not a big deal. Of course, when it's hardware, that's the old way of doing it. Jonathan said Shelby Bronco two-door. I think that you're looking at the Oats. If that's what that is, possibly, we were joking and calling it the hauling Oats. And I think, I don't know, someone last week said it could have been a pickup truck, right? Hauling stuff. Or the other could be a tribute to Shelby Hall and Rod Hall, right? So, I mean, who knows? I think that's the cool thing that, Ford got us when they came out with the Heritage trims. We didn't expect it, but it happened to be on the anniversary of the original Bronco. So we should have all figured that one out. Oats might be one of those things where when we figure it out, it was right in front of us. Why didn't we guess it? So it's pretty cool but I'm still thinking. I keep looking at the oats thing in the grocery store on the cereal aisle, and I just trying to, if I read, if I look at it on a cereal aisle, like what the heck? So I don't really, like I said, I need other stuff to do. I get it, folks. I get it. Bronco 78. I seen an article where someone's starting a coyote swap on a new Bronco. I did see that Bronco 78. Yeah, and we'll see how, we'll see how that goes. I don't know what they're hoping to expect, hoping to gain, right? Other than, so I don't, it's all about how you tune it. It used to be more about camshafts. Now it's just mainly about tuning. So what are they looking for in horsepower and torque? And, what about the gearing? What's changing in the transmission? There's so much that goes into these things. I just don't know what they're gaining other than the novelty of it's kind of cool, right? You have a V8 Bronco, a new sixth generation. So I really think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. And I've said it over and over again. If they offered one, I would buy it just because. I just love to know the performance. What do they expect to gain out of it? And I mean, if you want to go down a quarter mile faster, then that's cool. But it would be nice to see it running and driving, having some fun, and doing some, high speed stuff. I think that's you would expect to see at Johnson Valley, Moab, somewhere like that. Overlanding for Fun said Ford is working on a wireless AC for the Bronco in 2024. Yep, did not know that. Coyote is a step backwards just for the sound. Yeah, if it were me, I would probably be doing 773 for a couple reasons. One, we talked about earlier, the width. But I think it's more of a tuner's dream to have that thing, right? A 7.3. Even though, look, the Coyote engines they're pretty awesome. It's definitely going to sound different. That's for certain. And I have a dog barking in the background. I think the dog's saying, "Hey, you've been on the live stream over an hour. Time to roll." Let's see. Mobile Bluetooth AC. Okay, I need to check into that. So thanks, Overlanding for Fun, Tim, and Mobile Motto. I have to check into that. I have not been keeping up with that. Man, I need to catch back up, I guess. That is interesting. Let's see. I have wireless AC in my 78. It works great in the wintertime. I hear you, Bronco 78. Yeah. It's a little breezy in there, right? Yeah, but that's still a sweet Bronco, though. So who cares? Let's see, 647 horsepower, 75% of which is bone stock Taurus motor. Yeah, see, wireless AC sounds wild. It does sound wild, doesn't it? Like I said, I need to read into it. I'm not even going to comment on it because I have no idea. Let's see, the 3.5. Here, let's pop this up here, mobile. 3.5 has much more overhead left than the 2.7 does. 2.7 at 330 horsepower is much closer to its limit than the 3.5 at 415. Yeah, and if you think about it, it's probably not on that edge. But like I said, I'm just curious to know about the block material. How much did that figure into it? What about the low speed idling? What do you think, Mobile, about the temperature control of an aluminum block versus CGI? Do you think there's any advantages one way or another? The whole thinking was that if you're doing a lot of, if you're rock crawling, right, you're low RPMs, probably in the heat if it's summer. So low airflow across the grill. And is that a contributing factor to the design? I don't know. 2.7 has much more torque than the 5.0, my F-150, like 30. So TJ Miller said, let's pop, this is a good comment here. 2.7 has more torque than the 5.0 in my F-150 and like 30 less horsepower. I'm not sure what the 5.0 benefit would be really. Yeah, I'm just looking at it from a performance thing. I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money, and it's a project. It's a project to work on, and that's a good thing. Gives you something to do. It's a bad thing when you're going on a trip and something breaks. So I'm like, understand that's the point of a hot rod. But what I'm getting to the age now to where I like factory built hot rods. So other than my 66 here, my black and gold Mustang, I don't know. Which, speaking of that car, before we hit these comments, I have to do a new fuel pump. We have the Aeromotive fuel pump that started to leak on it a little bit, and you can imagine electricity and fuel. Yeah, so we can't run it until I replace that. And then I'm worried that the foam in the fuel cell might be deteriorated, so I have to pull the fuel filter, make sure it's still intact, and if it's not, then that's you got to manually clean it out and manually restuff it. So that car is hopefully going to see the road again soon, but it'll fuel pump in about 2 weeks. And then after that, it's all on the fuel cell, if it's in good shape or not. Let's see over there. Oh yeah. By the way, Bronco Dude said something. He says, let's put that up here. So if you're watching right now live or on replay, and by the way, hit the like button for me. It helps. You wouldn't believe it helps so much with YouTube. So if you're watching right, take just a second, hit the thumbs up. That would be great. Also sharing it. If you have a lot of like-minded people, or in your network around your channel, hit the share button. It's pretty cool. But Bronco Dude said, overlanding for fun. You're 3 subs away from 500. Congrats. So I know that number goes up and down. Our numbers go up and down all the time. I don't know exactly where it is right now, but if you haven't already, after the live stream, which is going to end in just a few minutes, head on over to Overlanding for Fun, hit the like button, subscribe to his channel, watch a couple of videos, great content. Tim's a cool guy, and just hit the subscribe button. Let's get over and well over that 500 and just get away from the 500, right? Get like 510, something like that. But if you haven't already, it's a really good channel too. A lot of tech stuff there. I know if you, like me, if you ever want to see a dash tore apart in a Bronco and you don't want to see it in yours, go to Tim's channel and watch it. And yeah, that's fun. Let's see. Hope for it. Overlanding for Fun said, let's pull that up there. There's Tim, by the way. Hope for it comes out with a Rattler version of the Bronco. Yeah, I think, Tim, the trim levels, what's going to lead the future is the Bronco is going to look really close to what it looks like now. Performance is going to change. I know they're working on a different 2.7 for 2024. And I say different, something different. I know that for a fact. They're trying something. But I think trim levels and then options in that trim. Take the Everglades, right? The snorkel, the factory slide out tailgate, that 12-inch touchscreen with a mid package, a little bit higher water fording, but partly because of snorkel. Let's see what else is on there. Cup holders in that. I don't think it's unique to Everglades. If they're doing it there, should be doing it to all the trims. What else is? Well, I'm missing something else in there, but and I'll watch it back later and say, "Oh, you missed it." But anyway, I think that the different trims coming out, but it can't just be a name. So it has to have some accessories attached to it. So it's very possible, Tim, that would be in the future because they have to keep it. They have to keep it the same. Oh, let's see. Better call the Geek Squad to come service these things. Yeah, the Broncos are getting technical. That's for sure. I was talking to the mechanic, the service manager at our dealership. Really cool guy, very knowledgeable. They're all very knowledgeable. But he was telling me about, they constantly, you're always learning the new product. But Ford's coming out with so many new things at once. If you think about this, and this is going to be one of our last subjects tonight, if you look at quality concerns that some people have had, there was old, worn out, tired info about the 2.7 in a video that came 4 days ago. And one of these YouTube channels that's not like local people that you'd know. I don't know who they are, but it's like 6, 7, 8, almost a year old. Well, about a year old when it started really hitting information, right? So you get all that stuff that's out there. But the thing about the new trim levels, all of the Bronco, the Maverick, the Mach E, the Lightning. I mean, these guys are having the guys and gals are having to learn a ton of stuff really, really quick. So if you think about that, I mean, it's not just the old wrench days, right? You have some days you go and change the oil, and the other days you're working on a, on a computer and you're downloading software into it to get it to work. So, I mean, they've got a big learning curve, and it's not one trim once in a while. It's a lot really fast. So, um, anyway, I did say that. Oh, what was that? I saw Daryl Hall there. Oh, let's see what we got. I need to go through the comments here, man. There are a bunch of let's go here. TJ Miller always wanted 6.2 Raptor motor, supposed to be the bulletproof almost. Bought the desert sand one before I got my aluminum F-150. Let's see, just like just like the Raptor is supposed to be the Warthog. Yeah, I don't know what the Bronco 78. I think that was a big diversion. And one of the biggest things is when this floor mats. I don't know if you remember, somebody took delivery of their Bronco and it had Warthog floor mats in it. I remember seeing the picture on that. And I was like, that had to be delivered. Hey, let's mess with people. Drop these in one. That'll get them going. And then the Raptor came out. Some of those things are done. So yeah, and yeah, last week we had some really good guesses over any terrain except snow, over any terrain electric. Don't know what the S would be, something like that. That I swear it's going to be a hybrid. Oh, let's see. Aluminum will definitely shed heat faster and more efficiently. Okay, Mobile. That was in response to that question there. These integrable manifolds are a dream come true coming from Pinto Motors. Yeah, the biggest thing about the manifolds is, they're able to heat. If you've noticed, if you've had your Bronco in cold weather, it heats up really quick. They're able to heat the water up and get the engine at operating temperature really fast. They're also able to help control some of that exhaust temperature too. And a Ford engineer told me that one of the benefits of having the turbos mounted so close to the head was the fact that the manifold was in the head to help dissipate heat. So that was a fact of how they were able to get it so close, at least from someone that actually had something to do with it. Let's see. I'm currently fighting an ailing V10. Half the motor is missing. Yeah. Yeah, Mobile. I saw your comments over on Dave's channel one, and I remember if you have the plug-on coils, we went to Napa, right? So the dealer was very expensive, to get them there. Aftermarket didn't last. You put them in, and it would work, and then you would get this intermittent misfire. I went to Napa and put new coils on there, and that was in a 5.4 in an Expedition, and it cleaned it up. And I mean, that thing ran great, but if you've got a lot of misses, and if they're random, that's better than if it's a few cylinders that are dedicated misses. And now it either is, electronics, or it could be fuel related, or it's hardware. And as you know, cylinder 6 and 10 are on vacation. Yeah, that's no fun. That is no fun. Brian said a big reason for the aluminum is weight. That is true. That is one thing. Let's see. Did the coils 1 and 5 tonight? I broke some screws off on 6 and 7. That stinks. Yeah, the screws that hold the coils on are they're kind of sketchy, I guess. So it sounds like the V10 needs a lot of work. I know, like I said, our 5.4 had like 300, almost 300,000 miles on it, and it was just chugging right along. And it ran, I mean, look, the thing ran really well. It did start having at about 300,000 miles. It started having a lot of small things. You know, it was a hose blew one day. Well, they looked good, but it blew. Okay, change the hose, no big deal. Then the water pump went out, and then a valve cover gasket started leaking. Then there was something with the fuel system. It started happening almost monthly, so it was time to get rid of it, and that's what we had to do. Let's see. Mobile said, I've driven a PA and back the last 2 weekends. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of driving. When I went to Detroit and back, we left. Gavin and I left on Thursday. We came back on Sunday. That was a hustle. One driver, doing it. I think it was 760 miles from where I'm at. Not not a bad deal, but let's see. Bronco 78 said, my brother told me 25 years ago that you would need to be a computer tech to work on cars in the future. Well, the time is here, and he was correct. Pre-collision error taught me limp mode, or error threw me into limp mode on my 2.7. Sorry, folks. I need some new glasses. I'm going to get studio and glasses. Pre-collision error threw me into limp mode on my 2.7. Yeah, the adaptive cruise control is something about the Lux package I'm not crazy about, so we just don't use it. But of course, it limits you on your winch, your aftermarket winches that you can go, and that doesn't mean you can't do aftermarket. It just limits you on which winches that you go to. So let's see. Mobile just rode 246,000 on that V10. That is good. That's really good. Of course, you probably take care of your vehicles, I would imagine, so that's going to help. I see Bronco 78. We're skipping around here. Bronco 78 said, I just see the two-door getting the hybrid. I don't know why, but I think they're going to jump on the two-door with the hybrid. I get it. A four-door family vehicle makes probably sense, but I just think it's going to be that entry level, and it's going to start with a two-door, something to do with the nostalgia of the early two doors and, changing it up. So we'll see what it is. Let's see. Mobile said, last comment here. I have a rolling dually chassis with a V10 sitting on it. Just need to prep for this winter. That sounds fun. Yeah, put some custom body on there and, go have fun with it. All right, everyone. Last call for questions. Anything? I am going to be wrapping this up. We're an hour and 18 minutes. Thank you all for joining us tonight. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, like the video. That helps YouTube spread this to other people. But definitely want to help grow this channel. And like I say every week, I appreciate it. I don't take it lightly that you're spending your Wednesday nights with us. And we thank you for that. So pretty awesome. And next week, I think we're going to try to line up some video and pictures of some stuff. And we're working on a guest for a few weeks after that. It's going to be interesting. Montana project, bone stock 22 code went off just sitting in the parking lot, idle. Bone stock 22 code went off. Yeah, that's interesting. So software, right? Hey, if you think about the chips too, I said earlier that'd be the last thing, but leave it with this. On the chips, the shortage, right? If you think about the manufacturer of the chips semiconductors trying to hurry up and get these things done, trying to get them out, maybe have new help, or I don't really know the process there. It's pretty controlled. It's not like they're just throwing stuff together on the assembly line. It's done in some really clean, very particular environment. So I get that. But do you think there's ever any issues with those semiconductors being that the pressure that is on those people to make them? Is there anything in that processing, or is it done in a way that it's almost fail-proof, that mistakes wouldn't happen? I think any industry out there has the ability for mistakes to happen. So, that's good. And Mobile had a great comment. Let me pop this up here because I do know someone that had a related issue to this. Make sure your grounds and power wires are tight. They had some escaped that were loose. There was a between the battery and the, I want to say it was the fuse block up on the driver's side. There was something loose in there, I think on the fuse block where it bolts together. There's a bolt in there that they had to tighten. It was either the cable or the two parts bolt together. Something in the fuse block. So this person told me about it, and they were able to fix it up in like an hour. You know, by the time you roll it in, fix it, and do the paperwork, it was about an hour. So it wasn't a huge deal, but that's a very real possibility. And I don't know if it was positive or ground, but I just know it was in that general area. But anyway, all right, everyone. Well, listen, last call, questions. But I really do appreciate you all being here tonight. Thank you. Hopefully next week we'll have some good info. We are going to the Outer Banks to shoot a video on that sand mode and mud rut, front locker, 4 low. What do you do when you're in deep sand? You know, it's pretty simple. If you're sitting there by yourself, you just find a button that works. But when you have people trying to get off the beach and they're having to get a running start and you're halfway up the exit, you know, you don't want to spend too much time. So, you know, locked in the front, went right to 4 low, and we drove out of there like not a problem. So just want to drop that out there. Mobile said, cat lady over on beach, you had a checklist to go over your new Bronco. Yeah, there's some people with a checklist. And look, the Montana project, yeah, check it, but you know, call the dealer, let them know about it. At least let them report it too. You know, find the problem, report it. That way, you know, they know they have the issues, and they, you know, as these things start to stack up, then they know exactly what to take care of. There was a supercar the other day. I mentioned some bolts that were left on the cross member in the back and some rusty areas. Any vehicle right now, I mean, it's been this way for a long time, but it doesn't matter what vehicle is, it's prone to stuff, but especially a new vehicle, you know, these small little things happen. Somebody found tie downs, the trail sights under the hood last week. Man, I wouldn't complain about that. You know, I'd keep them. Thanks for the gift. But you know, this stuff happens. So just enjoy your Bronco. What the heck? Anyway, everyone, hey, thanks for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Hit the like button if you don't mind. And when we're done here, head over to Overlanding for Fun and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. Get him over that 500 mark and stay there. So, all right, everyone, I'm out. See you. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.